I'm Melissa Murray. I'm the interim dean here at Berkeley Law, and I just wanted to welcome all of you to our welcome session for instructors. For some of you, this will be old hat. For others, it will be new information, but for everyone, we hope that this will give you an idea of the resources that are available to you as you begin instruction in the spring semester. And I can say from personal experience, I was a professor here for 10 years before I was thrust into greatness as interim dean, that teaching our students is among truly the greatest pleasures one can have as a lawyer and an educator, and they're truly remarkable. And the experience is made even better by the fantastic support that we enjoy from the staff here. So I'm really delighted that you all will have an opportunity today to hear about these great resources that can help you all out in the classroom. And I hope that you'll remember the names of these individuals so you can call upon them as the semester wears on or if you need support in some way. Before I turn the program over to Susan Whitman, our Assistant Dean for JD Curriculum and Planning, and Carol Rockwald, our Registrar, I'd like to know a little bit about some of you. So if you could go around the room and maybe say our names and what we're teaching next semester, that would be great. So I'm Melissa Murray. I will be teaching a seminar called Mothers in Law. And as the name suggests, it is the scariest subject matter you'll find in all of legal education. So there are at least 5 courses that I want to audit. So if you have a spare seat, let me know. And if I have a spare moment, I'll be there. But video game law, yes to that. And all of these are fantastic. Our students are going to be really excited about all of these great opportunities. So I'm going to turn it over to Susan and to Carol. And I really want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedules to do this for us. This really allows us to have a curriculum that is not just exciting and interesting for our students, but really does have a finger on the pulse of where the law is going. And so we really appreciate you bringing your skills and your talents to us. Thank you so much.
Now we're going to hear from Carol Rockwald, who is our registrar.
All right, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you're here, and I agree with our dean that, the students are amazing. You're going to have a wonderful semester. So everything I'm going to talk about is in your instructor guide on pages 10 and 11. So, you don't have to take notes. It's really all there. But really, the one thing that I want you to know that it's in red on page 10 is that final grades are going to be due on June 7th, 2017 for your classes. And it's really very important that you meet that deadline. We have to certify our students very soon after that for the different bar exams and also graduate them. And without their grades, of course, it's very difficult to do that. So if you can remember that date, that would be really great. So you've probably already been in contact with our office. We scheduled your classes. All the information about days and times and rooms are on the schedule of classes. And some of you will have very popular classes, and you may have wait lists. And that information is on the schedule of classes too. And a lot of our students, they don't like to be on wait lists, so they may come and ask you to take them off of it for very good reasons. And I would really encourage you to just let them know that you can't do that. All of our wait lists, are set to move automatically. So when a student drops, the next student will move in, and students will perceive it as much more fair if that process is just allowed to continue. So if they continue to argue the point, you can always send them to me and I can talk to them about it. I'm very happy to, but they already know about this. So for the first 2 weeks, students will be able to add and drop online through Cal Central, and then after that point, they will have to petition if they want to add or drop, and they'll have to get your signature to do it, and they'll be a little bit bashful, and if you can just be understanding, they often have very good reasons for wanting something's come through for them, something else, different conflicts. So if you can be understanding, and they want you to like them, so So yeah, the final day to add and drop via petition will be February 17th. Some other students who may come to visit you are non-Bolt students who would like to take your class, and they're only allowed to do that after our online add drop period of the first 2 weeks, and they don't like that. But just you can, once again, you can send them to me if they want to be let in early, but really we need to let the law students have first chance at your class before we'll let in the non-laws. But usually most of the non-laws all get let in. So then as you're getting through the semester, if you have classes that are on the holidays, Martin Luther King or President's Day, they will be made up on April 24th and 25th, respectively, at the same time and in the same room that they normally meet. If for some reason you have to cancel a class, please let us know. Please let your class know, and we will be in touch about rescheduling. The ABA is very specific about the number of minutes of instruction per unit. It's 700 that need to be taught, and we've already worked that out for you. So if you just teach your schedule as is on the schedule of classes, you'll be fine. But if you need to make something up, let us know. We do have a Friday makeup period from 1 to 3 where we can place classes. But if that's not available, or if there's another time that works better for you, we can certainly work with you on that. So then, as we're getting towards the end of the semester, if you're giving a final exam of any type, take-home or in-house, you'll need to do a review session. Those will be April 26th to the 28th, and we'll be scheduling those. And then in April, the grading period is going to open up, and you'll receive an email when that happens. We do have anonymous grading, so students, if you have an exam, they're going to put their exam number on it rather than their name. And so class participation can also be taken into account in grading. You'll need to be clear on your syllabus, how you plan to do that. So classes at the law school are presumed to be given for a grade. If your class should be credit only, then it should be listed as such on the schedule of classes, and it would need to be approved by Dean Whitman. So, and also, we don't have an A through F scale of grading. We have high honors, and pass. If you do have an exam, you'll need to turn in your raw scores to Trish. You'll get a lot of information through emails later on about grading, but if you have any questions in the meantime, Trish and I are definitely available. So, okay, that was a lot of information very quickly. Can I answer any questions for you? No? Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much. Oh, yes.
I'm curious about this generally. Where do grades fall in the world of high honors class? And is high honors truly these words high honor that you would hold for a couple people, or is it? What does that look like? Right?
Well, we have several different curves. Generally, for the JDs, the high honors is the top 10 to 15%, and then the next about down to 45% is honors, and the rest Ps. For pass or perfect, as some like to say, there's a separate curve for the LLMs if you have 11 or more in your class, and that would be the top 20% high honors and 30% honors, and the rest pass. We do have an online application that will do the calculations for you, so that you can see, exactly where your students are going to fall. And the email for the application will be sent out after enrollments calm down a bit at the beginning of the semester. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yes?
I noticed the B courses functionality includes grading. There's a grading component. Is there a lot of synergy between that and the grading submission systems, or not? Doesn't really matter how we keep our grades. Is it going to be more efficient if we do it through B courses?
Well, that's a really interesting question. We're actually developing a new grading system right now. We're switching to PeopleSoft, and my understanding is, right now, while you can keep track of things in B courses, the grading is going to be separate in the new system. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. The last day of online ad drop for the spring, let's see, it is January 23rd. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Yes.
Can you just tell me what the timing is for registration? I know the students have already started to register, but I think there's a first wave and a second wave.
Yeah, so phase 1 of registration just ended yesterday, which is this week, and the students are limited to 8 units, and then phase 2 is next week, and they're limited to 16 units. So yeah, your enrollment numbers will change a lot between today and the end of next Thursday. Mhm. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. I thought this was on. Oh, I'll do. Well, I am Assistant Dean of Academic Planning, Susan Whitman, and I am going to be talking to you about my world and also Anique Hershen's world. She is the Dean of Student Services, and her son had his tonsils out, and so she could not be here today, and so I will provide you with information from her. First, I work very closely with the Associate Dean for the JD curriculum, who is Molly Van Howling, and also with Professor Ty Alper, who is the Associate Dean of Experiential Education, as well as with Kristen Holmquist, who is the Associate Director of Experiential Education. And together, as a team, we decide what classes the school offers, how many sections, and the best semesters for those courses. I particularly support the lecturers and their teaching, and I serve as a liaison between you, the lecturers, and the law school. On issues of curriculum, scheduling. If you have a problem with your class, whether curricular, technical, or otherwise, and you can't figure out who to contact, you can always contact me, and I will refer you to the right person. I wanted to show you this portion of the website. It's called For Faculty and Staff, and it has lots of really helpful links like the academic calendar, your link to B courses, viewing your past evaluations if you still have your CalNet access from the last time you taught. And if you click on this link, and it took me a while to discover the secret, if you double click on this link, or maybe it's only click once, you actually come up with a much larger menu. Now, I'm sorry, I'm a Mac person, so there. Much larger menu of useful links, like, for example, the final exam schedule. Now, this is for this semester, but it will update eventually for the next semester. And it has review sessions and instructional technology, all sorts of helpful links. So I urge you on your own to explore the world of faculty and staff resources. I know that many of you are finalizing your syllabus right now. I want to say a few words about syllabus structure. You should view your syllabus as a contract between you and the students in which you spell out the obligations, I think in excruciating detail, of both parties. That means you need to be explicit about course requirements, the readings, the grading rubric, and your expectations for attendance and participation. If you say that attendance is mandatory, you need to specify the consequences in the syllabus. To help you structure your course, this summer we created a model syllabus which incorporates like our best ideas for how to structure your course. It also includes a lot of ABA required disclosures. So I urge you to click on that link that was sent to you today and call me if you'd like me to go over your syllabus. I'd be glad to help you. I review a lot of syllabi every year, and I can also solicit feedback from some of the subject matter experts in your area if you're interested in that as well. Just real quickly, you shouldn't make any changes to the assessment type for your class, whether it's an exam or paper or project, or the format of that assessment, whether open book, closed book, the length of the paper, after the second week of classes, that it coincides with the end of drop add. And that's because students may choose a course because it offers a paper or a certain type of exam, and it's unfair to change that when they can no longer freely drop the course and add another course. Also, please don't, I already said that. I also try and schedule meetings with all first-time instructors after the semester is over to just get your feedback on how the course went, to review the course evaluations with you, and suggest ways that you may want to improve your course, because everybody can improve each time they teach. So if you get an email from me, it is not because you've been bad, it's because it's in the natural course of my job. I also run the course evaluation process. Course evaluations open the last 2 weeks of the semester. The information that we collect, its student comments particularly, are vital to you as instructors. They're helpful to us as administrators. And they are also useful to students who can see them in a limited way. You can see the students' comments, but they can only see the comments that are in this section called the student-to-student section, which is at the very end of the evaluation. And they can only see them if 50% of their classmates in that class submitted the student-to-student comments. So there are not student-to-student comments for students for every class, because if the threshold of submission was below 50%, they're not viewable. But you still get to see the student-to-student comments. And I really urge you to look at the evaluations. I know it sometimes can be painful. Students can say mean things. They can say things that aren't justified, but they give a lot of truthful statements. And I really think that most of the criticisms that the students give are incredibly valuable. So that's my plug for course evaluations. And you'll get a reminder. Actually, I sent out a reminder today, for example, in the fall. And so I'll explain the whole process to you in an email, so you don't have to remember anything about the process right now. And we will send you a PDF copy of your evaluations after the semester is over, just to make it easy for you to look at them. A few rules: no substitute teachers in your class. Guest lecturers welcome, but they can't teach in your absence. You have to be there. No auditors other than UC graduate students or visiting scholars, and then only if you want them. And there's physical space, chairs, that don't violate, and we don't violate the fire marshal rules in your class. So it's up to you to an extent, which is the room size. But no alumni, friends, people can't, our courses are an expensive resource that students pay for, and we want to reserve the space for our students. There is a mandatory 2-hour online sexual harassment and sexual violence training that is required by California law of all instructors every 2 years. Even if you only teach here 1 semester every 2 years, you got to take that course. It's online. Actually, it's sort of interesting, and especially as a lawyer, you'll find it interesting, and it's really not so painful. So, climb into bed with a cup of coffee and watch this video, and I think you'll find it illuminating, and even if not, you have to do it anyway. A quick word about LLMs. That's the Masters of Law students. They are mostly foreign-trained students. We do have some Commonwealth students and a few US JDs who are getting an LLM. There are about 195 of them each year. They are on a separate curve from the JDs, and there is a curve for these LLMs if a class has 11 or more LLMs in it. Otherwise, you are free to give grades to the LLMs without a curve if there are less than 11 students in the class. I urge you to be as careful in grading them and give as much thought to the grades for those students as those JD students that you have to put on a curve. And let me also just put a plug in for the real value that LLM students bring to the law school. They bring the outside world, the world of international law into our classrooms. They are often extremely talented. They may be corporate counsel in their own countries, judges, practice for a number of years. And so I hope that you embrace them in your classroom because they deserve it. That's all I wanted to say in wearing my Assistant Dean for Academic Planning hat. Does anybody have any questions about what I just talked about?
Do the B courses credentials carry over year to year?
Israel Vela, instructional technologist, come on up so that we can.
Yeah, so B courses, just like other services, you access them through your CalNet ID. And so the question, I guess, if your CalNet ID is the same as previous years, then you will log into B courses just like you did. Usually they do.
Good.
Any other questions before I become Dean Hershen? Okay. I want to show you her picture just so I figured out how to do this. Okay. So bear with me 1 second. Well, it doesn't. You can't just enter. You have to push go. There is Dean Murray. And actually, just so you can see, there is Professor Alper, the Associate Dean for Experiential Education. These are people that you might hear from. There is Molly Van Houweling, the Associate Dean for the JD curriculum. And then here is Dean Hershen, the Dean of Students. Her office is right outside this door, to your right, and all the way down the little hallway. And right now, there are 3 people in that office. There is Dean Hershen, there is the Associate Director of Student Services, Kyle Valenti, and there is Izzy Mayer, who is their executive assistant. So it's a small but very important shop. Anique this is her 9th year as Dean of Students. And in the role of her office is to provide academic and personal support to students while they're here. Student Services also supports you in working with students. Anique and Kyle get calls from faculty on issues that come up with students, both during the semester and during exams. If you have a student who is in trouble or you think may be in trouble, please alert either Anique or Kyle, and they'll unfortunately be unable to provide you with any details of the subsequent intervention because of FERPA, which is a federal privacy statute, but at least you'll know that whatever services can be provided are being provided to those students in crisis. Student Services also schedules all accommodated exams, so you will get to know people in their office during the exam period. Since the law school has anonymous grading, all exam accommodations must go through their office. Sometimes students get confused about this and ask you to accommodate them, to change the exam schedule, to let them have more time, do it on a different day. Please do not respond to this. Direct them to Student Services. They should know, but you should not be involved in determining what kind of accommodation can be made, because there's, again, federal laws and university policy to affect this. Grading. Carol mentioned that we have a curve here. It is unusual. Double H's, high honors, and P for pass. For the 2L curve, 10 to 15% of the students receive double H's, high honors, 25 to 30% receive honors, and the rest receive P's. The 1L curve is slightly stricter, with only 10% of the class receiving double H's. A few of you may be having electives with 1Ls, and you will get information from the registrar's office on how to calculate the curve for the 1Ls in your class. If you decide to give either a PC, a conditional pass, or an NC, no credit, we ask that you write a short explanation for the student detailing why the student received that grade. And if I were you, before I did that, I would call up Anique and I would just discuss the situation with Anique, just in case there is something that she can think of that might be helpful to you. We have been asked, and you've heard even talk here about class participation being taken into account. Just remember, put it in your syllabus, and you can take it into account. Again, if you want to change the grading of your class to credit, no credit, good luck, because I'm the person who makes that decision, and I don't do it too often. By the way, all 1-unit courses at Berkeley Law are credit, no credit, so if you decide maybe you just rather teach a 1-unit course, then you can teach credit, no credit. And also, students sometimes will ask you, well, I'd like to take this course, which is otherwise graded, for credit, no credit. We don't do that. The course is either credit, no credit for everybody, or graded for everybody. There's no individual grading option. Seminar curve. Some of you will hear about this. Oh, I would love that seminar curve because I get to give extra HHs and H's. But not every seminar, or what you would refer to commonly as a seminar, receives the seminar curve. There have to be 24 students in the class, and the class has to require one 30-page paper, not a collection of papers. And it is a much more generous curve. If you have questions about the seminar curve, you can talk to the registrar's office. A brief word about the writing requirement. Some of you have received emails from me already because you had said that your class would fulfill the writing requirement. It wasn't clear to me that there was clarity on what the writing requirement now requires. We've changed the writing requirement. In the old days, that students could get a $2.99 in independent study credit to expand a 20-page paper into a 30-page paper to meet the writing requirement. Only third semester 3Ls, and they should not be working on their writing requirement right now, still have that option. It'll be gone completely after this year. Right now, there's only two ways a student can satisfy the writing requirement. One, they can take 2 option 1 courses. Those are usually shorter papers with instructor feedback and revision by the student. Or they can do one 30-page paper in a class, an option 2 paper with revision, with feedback and revisions. I regret the lack of clarity in the writing requirement in the academic rules. It is opaque. I have a lot of experience translating it into practical and I hope understandable terms. So if you have a question about the writing requirement, just talk to me. Real quickly, there is, as I showed you, a final exam schedule for student services on the website. In-class exams, if you're giving an in-class final, there'll be proctors. All exams are anonymous. Everybody gets a number, and it's not by their names. You can look at the academic rules online if you just go up here and, how do you ever do? And, okay. And you can just type in academic rules in this search bar. You can see all of the academic, if you spell academic right, academic rules. And why can't you push return? Okay. It'll pop up in just a minute, probably. There it is. You'll see all the academic rules, including that opaque writing requirement rule that I was just talking about. Every semester, some exams are rescheduled for various accommodations. So you should know that when you schedule an exam, there will always be, or most likely be, some exams that you do not get back right away. And that's because those exams are withheld, or more are withheld than the actual accommodated exam, to maintain the anonymity of the exams among the students. And so then you'll get the rest of the exams back when the 1 or 2 students have completed their accommodated exams. And you don't get your exams, I have a very close relationship with a Berkeley Law faculty member, and I know it can be a little frustrating when you give the exam where you know that everybody's taken it and you just want to get the exams graded and you just want them right away. It's not immediate. There is a number of people who have to do a lot of work to get them ready for you. So just be patient, and you will get those exams, and then you'll regret that you even have them in your house. If you are giving a midterm, make sure that it's included in your course description and in your syllabus, and the midterm has to be the length of a class period, or it has to be a take-home, because we don't have a time to schedule midterms outside of the class period. Honor code, I'm almost done. I know it's not good to have people talk. In the last session, they said that if you lecture for more than 11 minutes, you lose the audience, so I know that combined, I'm almost about to lose you. We have an honor code here at Bolt, which all of the students know about. They're intensively trained about it. It's online on the Student Services webpage. Every year, there's a small number of allegations of cheating. The likelihood of this happening in your class is very small. But if you suspect cheating, please do not do anything yourself. Don't try and suss it out. Go directly to Anique. She will help you deal with it, and really it's much better than taking action on your own. But most of our students do phenomenal work. They're enthusiastic, they're a delight to teach, and that's what we know you'll find. Any questions on Anique's area. Great. I'll tell her that I channeled my inner Anique. Now I'd like to turn it over to the best information systems and technology department anywhere. I mean, these guys are amazing, and I think you will really be impressed by the service they give you. Gabriel Gonzalez.
I'm really glad that was recorded. So I'm Gabriel Gonzalez. I'm the Chief Technical Officer here for the Information and Systems Technology Group at the law school. And, our main job here, when it boils down to it, is to helping you teach the students. And there's a lot that goes into that. We have three main areas of support that are relevant for you. Besides all the other technically gobbledygook, the internet, the website, we do support for your computers, your laptops, your mobile devices, things you bring to class, things you use to check your email. We also support you, during the exam process, during teaching evaluations. For those of you that have a Calendar ID or attempting to activate it or how to log in, we support you with that. So we have an office here. We have support, phone number, email, a great group of people that are not here, but they are excellent. And so if you have any kind of computing issue, last minute printing issue, you can't log in, those are the folks to call. We also have a media services department, and their primary focus is classroom technology. Getting your classes recorded, working with you for the media. We have iPads in all of our classrooms that allow you to access certain features, sending your presentations ahead of time using polling tools. And Israel and Dino that are here are going to get into that. So media services is another big part of where we can help you in the classroom and out of the classroom, putting up recordings, for example. And then I think what we have a very interesting area that I think is really great for helping you with not just with technology, but with using technology to teach is instructional technology, and that's Israel's main role. He'll show you how to use the tools in B courses to accomplish things in your class, whether it's polling, putting up documents, collaborating with the students, and occasionally when AirBears goes down, he'll be running around helping you in the classroom as well. Knock on linoleum. So we offer a wide range of services, and all of you as instructors here are, you should take advantage of them, whether it's consultation, whether it's getting your phone fixed, whether it's getting support. Don't suffer in silence. On page 6 of your packet, there's a bunch of emails, a bunch of names, a bunch of phone numbers. The most important one I can tell you, if you don't take anything else away, there's an email. It's trouble@law.berkeley.edu. If you don't know where else to send and know where else to call, send an email to Trouble, and it'll get to the right place, and we'll get back to you. In the rare occasion that you have an issue that the team can't solve or you're not getting a response, my contact information is up at the top, my phone number, my email, and God forbid, my office. You can contact me directly and we'll get it sorted out. We really look forward to helping you help the students, every semester, and it's always really exciting to see it all come together at the end. So with that, I think the exciting stuff is with Dino and with Israel. They're going to come up here and show you some of the exciting stuff you can do in the classroom. So, yeah. Take it away.
Right on. Okay, I'm Dino Johnson. I'm the manager of instructional technology, and my team is sort of split into the two sides. One is to help with AV in the classroom, and the other is, as he said, mostly Israel, this one amazing person, which will help with everything else instructional technology related. So I'll start with the AV side. All of our rooms, pretty much all of our classrooms have built-in AV. So there's two ways that you can present your content in your class. You can either bring your own device. There's connectors in every room with adapters as well. Or we also have iPads built into each classroom. And about half of our faculty are using that, and it's been a pretty successful installation over the last couple of years. It's a smoother and easier process for faculty. For the most part, you just simply email the presentation to the room ahead of time whenever you're done touching up your slides, and they'll be there for you when you get there. You just open up the mail app, open it up in the PowerPoint app that lives on the iPad, And it gives you a few extra features. You can use your finger to mark up the slides. And yeah.
Is there a way to send something that's not a PowerPoint, like if you're using a lot of browser links, like if you've got a series of links you want to display?
Like a document maybe,
yeah.
or? Sure. Yeah, you can send anything to that email account if it's a...
And it's an email account for the room?
Yes. And we have a web page I'll show you in a minute that lists all the addresses for the room. The important point being, if you do want to do that, we have a web page that can show you how to do it, but even better, we have a crew that can meet with you ahead of time in the classroom that you're going to be teaching in and just walk you through it that first time. But yeah, you can send anything to that room. It could be a Word doc or Excel spreadsheet. There's apps on those iPads to show all kinds of documents. So that's the presenting in the rooms. You have those choices, iPads or bring your own device. And if you plan on presenting anything in the classrooms this semester, I do urge you to send us an email. I'll give you the email in a second. Just let us know what you're going to do, and we have a great team, and they can just show up there 10 minutes before your class on your first class. If it's relatively simple what you're going to do, and we'll just make sure everything goes smoothly and show you how to use the room. If it's a little more complicated, you're a little more worried, we can meet with you ahead of time. Maybe a couple days before your first class. So we have like a full half an hour to talk about the process. And then the other service we offer in the rooms is class recordings. And most of our rooms have built-in cameras, and we can also take the program feed, which is whatever you're showing on the projector. And so we'll be capturing, in most of those classes, we're capturing both, and then we've got a new interactive player that combines the slides and the video in a nice way for the students. It's pretty nifty. They can advance according to the slide. There's an index of slides. They can jump to a certain spot in your lecture. It's really useful for review. Yeah, we have a little demo here. And it's all automated. We just built this in-house. We're pretty excited about it. So as soon as you give us a request for a recording, we enter it into our recording calendar magic system, and within an hour or two after your class is over, it should show up in your B Courses site automatically in what's called a media gallery. And most of the students that have been here for a while are aware of where to find those.
Interactive video player. The interactive video player can be...
There's a little demo. This is an example of what it looks like, just so you get a sense. They can jump to different slides. They can arrange the video in cool ways that make sense for them. So it's a good study tool for them for review and to support their learning. So that is the recording side. And is there any questions about recording? With this automated system, we can handle a pretty, we have capacity to handle a pretty wide scale. So if you really feel like you want every class in your entire semester recorded, we can do that too. Just let us know a couple weeks ahead and we'll record all your classes. We can also do a delay, and some faculty are doing this out of concern for attendance and stuff. If you simply want to record those classes for review purposes and don't want to encourage them to skip class, which could be a concern, a few faculty have asked for a delay, and we actually enter that automatically into our system. So every time that the lecture is captured, it goes into our system, but it won't show up in the media gallery till a week, 2 weeks, whatever the interval that you want. Yeah.
So we use the media at law at Berkeley.edu to request the videos?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the most important point, which is for any of this stuff, media at law, just let us know what you want to do, and that'll start a conversation with our helpful staff, and they'll tease out what you need and what they need. And try to get it to us as early as you can, even a few days before the semester starts, if you have a sense for what you want to do. It'd be helpful. Yeah.
So for those of us who have trouble getting things to you early, the point is we can also bring like our laptop, there's a connector, and we can just have it queued up ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Every room has a cable. And there should be an adapter. Most of them are VGA, which works for older PCs, but there's also a little adapter on there for newer Macs and most newer PCs as well. But if you have any uncertainty at all, even if it's a couple hours before and you realize, just send an email to he's checking it, constantly. So send an email and let us know. Also, another point I didn't make about the iPads, but on the iPads in the classroom, there's a button saying call media. So if you're in the room and you're freaking out and you don't have the adapter, something's not working, just touch that button on the iPad. It'll actually make a phone call, and our crew will answer it, and they'll run out and help you. And I think that's all I got. Any questions? Yeah.
Do you have
have those nifty overhead projector things that project whatever you're writing on?
We do, yes. We have them built into a couple classrooms, and we have a couple portables, so if you request one, we can bring it to you. Yeah. Yeah, those are helpful. Anything else? All right, I'm going to turn over to Israel to talk about a few other things. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about a little bit more about iPads and the polling solution we've been using in the last couple of semesters. The iPads, actually, some instructors have been taking advantage of their cameras, and we have there on a stand that we can move. So they've been used as document cameras, because you just turn them and you put your paper, your hard copy on the table, and that's already connected to the projector. So it's kind of very, very easy way to show something. Maybe, plan B for your slide deck that didn't get on time or whatever. So lots of information today. Everything I'm gonna mention is here under, for faculty and staff, just like Susan Whitman mentioned, there's the instructional technology section, and that contains all the information and more that you want probably about B courses or iPads, in-class polling solution, which is the web-based solution we are using to increase engagement and assessment in the classroom, and we're having a great success with it. Lots of instructors are using it. We have more than 2,000 responses per week in this semester. I encourage you to check this out, and please create an appointment so we can talk about it. We can find the best way to use it in your classes. We can share some ideas. I can show you how other instructors are using it. To schedule an appointment is very easy from here as well. There's the schedule an appointment link, or in any of the windows, there's the little bubble here. You click on there, and it shows any day that works for you. You can find a day and a time, and you just select that. And if it shows up here, I'm available, so we can meet and talk about any of these solutions. Like, again, the B courses to upload all the information, the syllabus, all the files, all the readings, all the assessments. You can put it all up there. Students will have access. There's some tips and tricks information here. The iPads, again, we've mentioned that you can send your PowerPoints to the classes. All the addresses for each room are listed here. But again, there's even a little video on how to gather those presentations when you're in the room. But if you don't want to, this is confusing in some way, you just set an appointment or send us an email, and we'll talk about it. The last thing is the in-class polling. Again, it's the solution we're using here. It's called Poll Everywhere. We replaced the clickers that we used to use last January, and we are really liking it. Instructors say how much students love it in the classes, and they mention those in their evaluations. So please take a look at this and talk to us, so we can find the best way for you to support in your teaching. And that's basically all I had. Do you have any questions or comments? Yeah.
Will we be getting an email to sign up for our B courses, or is that something we have to set up initiate?
So the B courses, I create B courses sites for all classes, and those are, you will be able to log in as soon as you have your CalNet ID, which is what happens at the end of the onboarding process. We'll send an email to all instructors saying your B courses site is ready. And if you, for some reason, because you need to upload a lot of documents or you need to migrate documentation from previous years, if you have the need to have access before you find that email coming to you, please let us know, and we can expedite that process and create your site and send it to you so you can start working on it as soon as possible.
There was a bug last spring with the iPads where if you left in the middle of a presentation, you couldn't get it to project again. Has that been corrected?
That's been fixed.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. You couldn't, depending on how you left your PowerPoint presentation, if you came back, then it really didn't work. You see it, but the students wouldn't. I'm really happy to say that that's fixed and that that's no longer a concern. So no more like crossing the fingers like, is it? Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Next is Michael Baisley, who is our Executive Director of Communications.
Hello. I think I can confidently say that we're more than halfway there. And I'm going to be very brief. Communications, we handle internal, external communications. We publish the annual magazine. We manage the website. We manage a lot of email communications with alumni and do some internally. The one thing that is most relevant to you is your faculty profile. And we'd like all faculty and all lecturers to have a profile up on the website. It's useful not only as sort of a calling card for you, but it's really important for students who, when they're registering for classes, they want to know who they're going to be taking a class from. So I know that Susanna in our office, who manages this, just got the list either yesterday or today of you folks who the new lecturers and faculty members are. I think Tejas, you're already up there. You've been up there. And she'll be reaching out to you directly to get some biographic information that we can put up there. And often it can just be something that is already on, if you're in practice or something like that and already have a website at a law firm or something like that, we can often just use that information right there. And if you have a photo and you want to send us one, you can. So this is just an example one right here. It doesn't need to be this long. This one is a little bit unusually long for a lecture. Usually there are a couple of paragraphs. But Susanna will reach out to you and get that information from you. And we'd love it if you could be as responsive as possible. Again, because it serves you, it serves us, and it serves the students as well. We also have something called Faculty Experts, which is this is actually for media that come to us and other folks that come to us and they want to find somebody to talk to about a particular subject area. This is completely voluntary, but if you have a particular topic area or two that you are particularly strong in and you want to make yourself available to media, reach out to us and we can help you get in here and so that when reporters come, they can go through the database and they can help find somebody to talk to. Another thing that we do, this is probably less relevant for part-time lecturers, but I'll just let you know about it anyway. On the home page of the website and on our research page, we like to feature information about great things that our faculty are doing. And that can include research, it can include a law journal article, it can include an award. You know, our faculty are an important part of everything that happens at the school here, so we want to highlight that as much as possible. So we have that thing on the home page, and then on our research page, we have a featured research section right here where we like to put up work that folks are working on. So if you're working on anything, if you have a new book coming out, anything that you think people might be interested in, reach out to Communications at Law, and that'll go to our team. We have a team of 6 people there, and then we can sort of farm it out to whoever is available or whoever you know is able to handle that information. The rest of the information on here, you can just go through, you know, at your leisure, but I think those are the main things that are most relevant to you folks. Any questions? Great.
Now, Michael Levy, the Associate Director of our Law Library.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Levy. I'm one of the 2 Associate Directors of the Law Library, and I'm going to just spend a few minutes talking about some library services to help you in your teaching here. In the handbook you have has sort of, you know, 5 or 6 points of the services that we offer, and I just wanted to highlight a few of them, the ones that folks tend to use the most. So before I jump into the services for faculty, I just wanted to point out from the Law Library's homepage, if you just scroll down a little here, there's two things I wanted to point out. The first one is the Law Library's catalog. What do we have in our collection here? We have an enormous collection. We still collect a lot of stuff in print, and we obviously have a huge number of databases. The Law Library's catalog is called LawCat. And you'll see that under this top databases, it's the first option there. You'll just click on Go, and it just takes you into the catalog. It's a fairly straightforward catalog. You can search by author, title, or keyword, subject, and it will tell you if we have it in the collection and where it's located. For those of you who don't know, the library is in the South Edition, which is just over here, and it's actually a really nice space to come and work in. So sometimes folks do come and work in the library, not just for students. So that's our catalog. The second thing here is where it says top databases. And over to the right it says see all. The top databases is just this drop down. This is just like the 10 or so databases that are used most frequently by our users. But we have many more databases than this. And to see a whole listing of them, you would just click on see all, and it will take you through an A to Z listing, and you can type in there and filter. So we subscribe to literally hundreds of databases, all accessible to you as a faculty adjunct here. So that's those two things. What I want to highlight then is on the right-hand side, we have this little chunk here which says for faculty. And I'm going to look at all of the things we have for faculty. The two things that get used the most often by our faculty, the first two items there under research. The first one is get a book, article, or other document, and the other one is make a research request. So these are the two services that the reference crew offer to our folks here. The first one, get a book, article. If you're looking for a law journal article, a case, an article in any journal, a book, all you need to do is just click on that link. It will ask you to log in with your CalNet ID and passphrase, and then there'll just be a box there where you can say, hey, I'm looking for this article from the Harvard Law Review. I need it electronically. I want it in hard copy. You send it off. That goes to the library, and then we will get it for you. We may go back and forth with you if there's information incomplete or we can't figure it out. But so that's the sort of first one. That's the sort of the simplest one. The second one there under make a research request is these are for sort of more in-depth questions that you might have rather than, hey, can you find this book for me? It's like, hey, I'm looking for comparative homicide statistics from Canada, the US, and Singapore from 2009 to 2016. Can you help me find that? And that was actually a real research question that came from one of our faculty members. And that goes to all of the reference librarians, and so we'll look at it. And so if there's somebody on staff who might have done this sort of work before, they may grab that. Or more often than not, it's just like, well, I happen to be available, and I'll take that research request. And we may go back and forth with you saying, hey, well, we don't have it from 2009, but we can get it from 2010. And, so there might be a little bit of back and forth. So people sometimes ask me, well, what can I ask in there? And we actually don't really have any guidelines for what you can ask. So we just say, put in your research requests, and if it's going to take a reference librarian the rest of the semester full-time to do that, we may push back on that and say, well, we probably can't do that for you. But we like to say, just put the research request in, and then we'll work with you. That seems about the easiest thing to do here. To get into these two services, you'll need to log in. And my experience has been particularly with adjuncts coming, depending when you get your paperwork done, when you get your CalNet ID up and running. If you get an error message saying you can't log in or they don't recognize you, or any sort of error message, just send me an email. I will talk to our web developer and say, hey, we have this adjunct. Can you make sure that they're added to the database? He'll go ahead and do that, and you'll get in. So it's probably, if you don't get in, it's probably not you. It's probably just your information hasn't quite filtered down through the university systems down to us. So just send me an email. My email is on the handout, mlevy@law, and we'll figure it out for you. A couple of other things here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Request Lexis and Westlaw passwords. You can get Lexis, I should say Lexis, Westlaw, and Bloomberg passwords. I will correct that. You can get Lexis, Westlaw, and Bloomberg passwords for your time teaching here. I don't automatically go and set those up for people because half the adjuncts don't use it because they're using some other sort of databases. Some of you may already have, if you're visiting from another institution, you may already have a valid Lexis, Westlaw, Bloomberg, and you don't need it. You don't need a separate one. If you want Lexis, Westlaw, Bloomberg, it's totally fine. Just click on that link, fill out the form. Basically, an email just comes to me, or you can just email me directly. I will send you the registration code. You just need to go and register. So no problem with that whatsoever. The last thing I will point out here, I'm trying to think of a couple of things that come up with faculty here. Under courses, the first two things there are probably things that come up the most. Putting materials on course reserve. So we still have a physical desk down in the library, and sometimes people want to put hard copies of things on course reserve so students can come and access them. We highly recommend, if something is available electronically, like it's a law journal article, just put a link in from B courses, and that saves everybody, traipsing into the library. But sometimes people have things that are just not available electronically. It might be your personal copy of a brief or something that you just want to be made available for your students. Just click on that link, and there'll be a little box, fill it out, and we will work with you. So that's that thing. The last thing is putting exams on the website. We maintain a database of old exams that faculty have given to students. Oh, it will ask me to log in. I won't do that. Students really like this. They really like to see old exams. If you have an exam that you want to put on there, just click on that, and it will give you instructions about how to do it. You can just send it in any format you have it. A PDF, a WordPerfect document from 1992, it doesn't matter. We can get it electronically onto the exam website. And students really do like this. And there's no requirement for you to do it. But we see many disappointed faces when they come to the library and say, I'm looking for so-and-so's, are there any old, intro to IP exams, and we're like, oh no, sorry, Professor so-and-so never gives them to us. And I will send reminders. I send reminders, sort of 3/4 of the way through the semester saying, hey, exam time's coming up. If you have any old exams, please send them to me. So you'll get that reminder. But students do like that. If you have any library questions, just email me, mlevy@law, and we will work on, whatever issues you might be having. So before I pass it on to Eric, are there any burning library questions, resource questions? Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's an abuse of you.
Yes, it is.
If we have our list of articles and things that we know they're worthwhile, that we could find through this, to send you that list for printing up for I don't, some of you did this.
Yeah. So
is it for the syllabus? We already know what all our readings are.
Right.
Is that an appropriate thing to send to you because we don't have a Westlaw password now for you to produce, or do we get the Westlaw?
Just send me an email and I'll give you a Lexis password, Westlaw password, this afternoon. So it's that's totally fine. If you're having difficulty finding, articles during your syllabus, just send us the information and we'll try and track them down for you. My advice, this is a sort of B courses thing, but the easiest thing to do if something is available electronically is to actually just put the link in to your syllabus rather than finding the document, downloading it, and then saving it, and then re-uploading it to B courses, which is a sort of roundabout way. You can just put in, if you're on Westlaw, you can just put in the link to the article. Every single student has Lexis and Westlaw, right? Or we have Heinon, we have many databases, and it's actually a lot easier to do that than the roundabout route. If you're having any issues figuring that out, just email me or email the research request. We'll figure it out for you. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, lastly, Eric Stern, who is Director of Operations, the Judicial Clerkship and Government Advisor in our Career Development Office.
Thank you, Susan. realize we're running a little bit behind and it is Friday afternoon, so I just have two quick topics to cover. So one is to just give you a quick overview of what the Career Development Office does, because you will inevitably be talking to students and answering some of their questions about career advice, different career paths they have. And then the second is to just give you a quick overview of the ways in which we typically interact with faculty. So our office is full service. We spend most of our time doing individual counseling. We do about 1,200 half-an-hour counseling appointments in any given annual year. We oversee very large on-campus interviewing programs, both in the fall and in the spring. We try to make sure that those are not disruptive of students' ability to attend classes. So our big fall on-campus interview program that we do actually happens during the first week of August, and it is over by the time students start the fall semester. We all have different areas of specialization. As Susan mentioned, mine are overseeing the clerkship program and government advising, but we have people who are helping our students who are interested in becoming public defenders and district attorneys and direct service attorneys at Bay Area Legal Aid, at the ACLU, at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and then we have a number of counselors who are helping students who are interested in working at law firms of various sizes, as well as in in-house legal departments. We also do a number of programs during the academic year in which we're helping students prepare for interviews, explore different career paths, and interact with our alumni network. And primarily the way in which we interact with faculty members is sort of as follows. After you end up teaching a semester of courses, and some of you have already been doing that, you may be asked by a student to write a recommendation letter for a clerkship application or a fellowship application or for a scholarship. So our office is here to help walk you through that process, to answer any questions you might have about when it actually needs to be done and how it's submitted and what its content should be. We're available to help walk you through that process if you've never been through it before. We also appreciate when faculty members forward to us leads and job postings that they might get that we can send on to our students and our alums. We might see your bios and even ask you to participate on a panel if your schedule should permit, because we recognize that you bring a tremendous amount of expertise into the building. And if there are students who are talking to you about their job searches and they are not necessarily sure where to go, you should send them down to us and we can sort of route them in the right direction and sort of get them oriented. That's about all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but thanks for your attention and I look forward to working with you.
I have one short announcement before I dismiss you all, and that is from HR. Those of you who need to complete your hiring paperwork, we have representatives from Campus Shared Services and the Law School HR who are in the back over there. So please go over there and complete your paperwork, and thank you for attending. It's wonderful to see you all here.